Hi everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to my masterclass. I am so excited to have you here. I'm honestly really excited. Thank you for accepting the invitation to join me on this masterclass. Thank you for taking out your time to join me on this masterclass. My name is Esther Zuri, and I will be taking you for these couple of days on understanding visa applications and free visa applications to wherever you want to go, basically. I know that you're eager for us to just start. Let me show you my screen so that we begin. But then I thought, let's talk about a few things before we get into the visa application proper. Let's talk about a few reasons why, or a few things that may hinder your progress or your success in your visa application. Okay, over the years, I've heard people say, "Oh, I need you to do this visa for me because I tried it myself and it didn't work," or "I gave it to this other visa agent and then the person scammed me," or "the person didn't do this," or "the person didn't do that." So it's not just about the application itself. So people say, "Oh, I did everything, I made sure I did everything right, I entered all the information, but then I still got denied the visa." Some people go as far as blaming the visa officer. "Oh, the person is a racist, or the country is a racist country," and blah 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 blah. I am not ruling out anything, and I'm not saying anything, but then it is very essential that we make sure that we have dotted our i's and crossed our t's. Okay, so you know that, okay, the fault was not from my end in any way. Okay, so before we get into the visa application itself proper, I put down some notes here, some notes that I would like to share with us. Okay, because it's not just about applying for the visa. If it was that easy or that straightforward, a lot of people would apply for the visas themselves, and even those complicated visas, they would get it, and therefore travel agents would not necessarily exist. All right. But the reason why travel agents are still needed is because a lot of people know that there are some parts of visa applications that are quite complicated. There are some things you have to take note of, which we will talk about. Okay, so don't stress your brain so much. We will talk about them one after the other. Okay, and if you are here and you are planning to be a travel agent, you're welcome. Please pay rapt attention, because this is what you're going to be doing for people, and so you need to pay rapt attention to detail. Okay, I would also be creating other videos to talk about some other points that would help you. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you can also get all those other details. All right. Now, before I go on, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section. I wouldn't want to make this session unnecessarily long. Okay, because I know that we have things to do and we want to go into the visa application proper. So I'm just gonna summarize everything as much as possible. If there's anything that you want me to touch more on, maybe I talk about something and I move on, and there's anything you want me to touch more on or create a video, a separate video on, or a separate article on, just let me know. Okay, just drop it in the comment section and then I will come there to respond. All right. Okay, so let's just breeze through what I have written down here. The first one is, what is a visa and why is it important? What is a visa and why is it important? Okay, and I in my notes I wrote that a visa is an official document issued by a foreign country's government that grants an individual permission to stay or work within that country for a specific purpose and a specific duration. Okay, I don't want to make it sound too bogus. Okay, so basically, if you want to enter a country of which you are not a citizen, or you're not granted permission to enter by reason of your nationality, then you need a visa. Okay, if I should break it down a bit more, if you want to enter a country and you're not a citizen of that country, you might need a visa. Okay, the reason why I use might is for exceptions, such as if you're a Nigerian and you want to enter Ghana, of course you don't need a visa because it's the same West Africa, you understand. But for some countries like maybe Rwanda, you would need a visa on arrival. So some countries like the USA, UK, you would definitely need a visa because you're not a citizen of that country. Now, if you're a citizen of that country, that's different. Okay, but we're basically talking about if you're not a citizen of that country, you might need a visa. Okay, so there are several types of visas. Okay, in several types of countries, Different countries have their different kinds of visa, and most of the time they are alike, but they call it different names. Okay, all right. So, but basically, I would like to group them under one major umbrella of just three visas. Okay, three major umbrellas. You have the tourist visa. You have the tourist visa could be a visit visa as well. All right. You have the tourist visa. You have the work visa, and you have a study visa. So basically, people go to these countries either to just visit or to work or to study. Okay, whether you're going there as a family sponsorship visa, if your family member sponsors you to come to a country, it's either you're visiting there or you're working there or you're studying. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's why I decided to group it into three, under three umbrellas. Okay, there's nothing more you would do in a country than to either visit maybe for a business or a conference, or just visit for tourism purposes. All right, or you're going to that country to work in that country, or you have decided to go to that country to work in that country. Either you're going there to visit, to study, or to work. Okay, so now that we have that done, let's move on. Let's talk about some essential preparations for visa applications. Now, like I said before, it's not just about waking up and applying for the visa, okay? There are some things that you have to put in place. There are some things that you have to be mindful of when you want to begin a visa application. All right. So now the first one I wrote down is your eligibility. Okay. First of all, are you even eligible for this visa type? Okay. It's very important to note, that you don't just wake up and apply for a visa. Okay. You have to figure out if you are eligible. Okay. If you're old enough, there's some visa types that if you're over 18, if you're under 18 rather, you shouldn't even apply for that visa, because you might not get that visa, especially if you are applying for it alone. Okay. You have to know if you're eligible. If, say for example, there are some visas that would not be granted to you if you have done some things, like maybe you've been a terrorist, you've worked for a terrorist organization, you've worked as a spy, there are some things, some visa websites, the embassy, there's a checklist or some questions they would ask you ahead of even your application. I think Canada does that, especially. They ask you a couple of questions. Have you been a part of any terrorist organization? Have you been this? Have you been that? How old are you? Are you this? Are you that? Do you have a passport? Do you have this? Do you have that? Those questions are being asked to you because they want to know if you are eligible for the visa type you want to apply for. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it is essential to know if you are eligible. Okay. Now let's go to the next one. Let's talk about the common documents that are needed for the visa types. We're basically going to be focusing more on visit visas for this session. And the reason why I chose visit visas is because if you can get your visit visas, you can get any kind of visa. Trust me, because a lot of people think that work visa is the most complicated. I think that visit visas and study visas are even more complicated than work visas. And so that's why I chose visit visas, because, of course, a lot of people might want to just, travel and visit somewhere, or, you might want to travel and visit somewhere, or you might just want to go there maybe for a quick conference or something. So that is why I mostly chose visit visas for the countries that we're going to be discussing. So let's just focus more on visit visas when we're talking about the documents needed. Of course, I will tell you what you will need for work visa and study visa as well, okay? But I wouldn't really dwell on it as much as visit visa right now. Now, so let's talk about the common documents. Of course, you need to complete an application form. That's from the embassy, of course. From their website, you can go online, get the application form, and complete the application form. You need to have a valid passport. Now, even though this is like, hello, everybody knows that I need to have a passport, right? I don't want it to be a cliche, and I don't want to be overflogging the issue. But then, having a valid passport is not just about having a valid passport, but it's about having a passport with good validity, period. Okay? It's about having a passport with good validity, period. All right? And I will explain what I mean by that. Now, having a passport with good validity period, let's say, for example, you want to study somewhere and your study takes 2 years and your passport expires in 1 year and 5 months or 1 year and 4 months, then it is advisable that you renew your passport. Okay, before you get to submit that passport, it's advisable that you renew it, because most countries will not give you a visa that is way past the validity of your passport. So let's say you are applying for, say, a 2 year visa, and then your passport has 1 year and 5 months or 1 year and 6 months. Okay, they would either reduce your visa. I had a friend who applied to, I think it's Turkey, yeah, Istanbul, and he was applying for, I think, a 2 year visa or something, and they told him it's either you go back and renew your passport, or you reduce the number of months that you want for your visa, because your passport's validity is not as much as the number of years or the number of months you're asking. So he had to choose a less validity, something, a visa of, a shorter visa, rather, because of what they told him, because of what they told him. So it's not just about having a valid document, it's about ensuring that your document is valid through the period for which you are applying. Okay, so for Canada, for example, you're applying for, say, a 4 year visa or a 3 year visa, and your passport is just about 1 year and 2 months. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? And also, what I have noticed recently is that Canada gives you almost as long as the validity of your passport. So let's say you apply for a visa and your passport is, say, maybe 8 years validity. They might give you 7 years, okay, out of those 8 years. If your passport is, say, 10 years validity, they might give you 8 or 9 years. Okay, that's what I've noticed lately. Okay, so it is essential that you ensure that before you start applying for a visa, your passport is valid through that period for which you need the visa. Okay, say you're applying for a UK 2 year visa and your passport is 1 year and 8 months. That's not advisable. Okay, all right. So ensure that your passport is valid, not just valid, but that the validity period makes sense. Okay. So of course you need your passport sized photos, preferably e-copies, because since the pandemic we have been doing a lot of online applications. Most of our applications have been, more online. Okay, they prefer for you to just upload your documents online and all that, so you will need passport size photos, a very clear e-copy. Ensure that not just a passport size photo, but ensure that it fits the requirement of the embassy. Okay, because an embassy might say, okay, your background must be white, you must wear a colored t-shirt and everything, don't tie a scarf, make sure your ears show. Even though these are normal rules, some embassies might not give those guidelines. Okay, but some embassies are very strict on it, they're very particular about it. So whatever country you want to apply for, ensure that you have that at the back of your mind, that okay, this is the kind of passport that they need. Okay, all right, so let's move on. Your proof of travel itinerary, also extremely important. If you're visiting, if you're going on a visit visa, of course, they would ask you these questions even when you're applying. The USA would ask you, do you have your travel itinerary? Have you made travel plans? If you've made travel plans, they would ask you for the details and all that. Okay. Also, one thing I want to mention rather is that if you have proof of your travel itinerary, it helps you a whole lot, because it shows that you would actually go to that country and come back. Okay, if you have a return ticket, for example, and it shows, okay, I'm going to the country so day and I'm coming back so day, it helps you because it shows that, okay, this person has already spent money on this ticket. So, it means that they will come back, that kind of thing. Okay, even though some people use dummy tickets sometimes, it helps because it shows them that you are actually planning to come back to your country, as you should if you are applying for a visit visa. Now, the next one I wrote here is proof of accommodation. You need to prove that you're not going to their country to live under the bridge. It is very, very, it's very, very essential for them. Okay, it is very, very essential for them that you're not coming to their country to beg or to stay under the bridge or to go to, one of those homes for homeless people. You're not coming to their country to be homeless. You have a place to stay. Either you get a hotel booking. All right, you have booked your hotel and you let them know this is the hotel I'll be staying. Or if it's a conference you're going for, let's say you're visiting that country for a conference, and on the letter they have stated that, okay, we will be providing accommodation for you. Here is where you'll be staying. That invitation letter that shows the hotel accommodation should be presented also. Okay, you should submit it as well. All right. Or if somebody is inviting you, maybe your friend or your spouse or your family member is inviting you to that country, and the person, you plan to stay with the person in the person's house, the person has to write a letter. We'll get there, okay, the invitation letter side. But the person has to write a letter that says, this person is coming to stay in my house, okay? This person will be staying in my house, and this is proof that I actually live here. Okay, because I mean, yeah, you could just write any address, but the person has to state, this is proof that I live here, and this person is coming to stay in my house. They will not be staying under the bridge in America. Okay, all right. So next, I wrote financial documents. Financial documents. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section. Okay, I wrote financial documents. That's like bank statements, pay slips, sponsorship letters. It depends on who exactly is sponsoring you. Okay, if an organization is sponsoring your flight and everything, they will definitely include it in their letter. Okay, that they are sponsoring you, blah 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 blah. All of that. If it's someone inviting you over to their country and they are sponsoring you, or their bank statements are good enough, they can state it in the invitation letter that I am sponsoring this person to come over to the UK, to come over to the USA and see me. Okay, they would include it in the invitation letter that they're sponsoring you to come and see them. All right, and then attached to that invitation letter would be their bank statement or pay slips, okay, to prove that, look, I am financially able to take care of this person for the period that they will be staying in this country. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's very essential. Basically, visa officers work with evidence, they work with proof. Okay, you need to say, the person needs to say it, the person needs to state it. Okay, it is very essential that they state it, that they are sponsoring you, and then they attach their bank statements or pay slips and all that. Okay, you also need, for some countries, you need your receipt for your visa process. In UK, for example, when you have paid your visa fee, you would have to print out a letter or an email that is sent to you that says you have made payment for this. Please take this along to the visa center when you're going for your biometrics. You need that. Okay, that's one document that you really need. In many countries, you will need your travel insurance. This also depends on how long you're willing to spend in that particular country. You will need your travel insurance. I know that a country like Poland, you need to get your travel insurance. Okay. Now, I wrote invitation letter. Invitation letter is very essential if applicable. Okay, you need your invitation letter if somebody is inviting you, if a company is inviting you, or you're going for a conference or something, or you're going for an event. You need that letter that states that this person is invited to the event, or this person has registered for this event, and the person is coming for this event. Now, I would make a separate video on proof of funds. Okay, proof of funds, either your proof of funds or the other person's proof of funds. I'll make a separate video on it. Invitation letter as well, I will make a separate video on it, because we need to break down the things that need to be written in your invitation letter and why. Okay, not just, oh, what should I write, what should I write, what should I write. No, why am I writing this particular thing? Okay, and what should I include, what should I not include? Okay, and we're going to talk about how that invitation letter affects your visa process. Okay, because everything has to be congruent, everything has to be the same. You can't write A in your invitation letter and then write another thing entirely in your visa application. Okay, that's why I always suggest that the one person drafts everything. If you're a travel agent, for example, I draft invitation letters for my people and I tell them, go through it. If there's anything that's not correct here, let me know. Okay, if there's anything here that's not correct, you need to let me know so that I know what to do, because I don't want it to be that you have decided to invite somebody over. Okay, you have decided to do this and that for the person, and then you don't include it in your invitation letter. That is going to be a huge problem. So for me, when I am assisting anybody with their visit visas, I draft their invitation letters myself and I give it to them and say, go through. If there's anything that's not correct, let me know. I will correct it. If there's anything that you're willing to add, let me know and I will add it, because I want for everything to be congruent. Okay, not that you're talking about A in your invitation letter and in your application you're saying B. Okay, that's very, very risky, because you could be denied the visa. See, once a visa officer just smells deceit or smells foul play somewhere, it's gone, it's finished. They deny you and that is it. And I wouldn't really blame them, because they are looking, there are like thousands and thousands of applications almost on a daily basis, and so they can't just allow everybody pass that process without due diligence. And so I applaud them for that. The fact that they actually take their time to go through all these things. All right. So now, so that's it. You need your invitation letter. In some cases, you will need your medical records, your police character certificate, and all. For some countries, you need all of that. Now, if you are, let's say you're going to see your spouse, or you are actually going with your spouse, you might need your marriage certificate. Okay. In some cases, you will need to show that I am married to this person and I am traveling to see the person, or I am married to this person, I am traveling with the person is my dependent. Okay. You will need your marriage certificate. If you're visiting your family member, say your sibling or something, you might need your birth certificate to show that, okay, this person is my family member, I am going to visit them. Another very essential thing is your travel history. Okay. A lot of people don't know the power of having a good travel history. They don't know the importance of having a good travel history. Travel history is a lot. I wouldn't say it is everything. Okay, I wouldn't say it is everything, but travel history is a whole lot. Now, I'm going to make a special video talking about your travel history, what travel history is, the importance of travel history, and how to build your travel history from the scratch. Even if you don't have money, building it from the scratch. I'm going to discuss with you in that video how to build your travel history. I don't want to make this video extremely long, so I'm not going to talk about it here. Okay, but it is very essential that you show your travel history. If you have a history of travel history is basically countries you have been to before. Okay, outside your country. So if you have been to Ghana, Rwanda, Kenya, Dubai, yes, showcase it. Okay, show it. One very essential tip that I tell people or that I give people is before you go to countries that are known as the big boys, go to some countries that are very easy, maybe visa on arrival countries. Okay, spend some time there, a week or two there, come back, and then go to countries that are very easy to navigate. I think one of the countries that I decided to go for first is Kenya. Okay, for Ghana, I've lived in Ghana, so I didn't really see it as a big deal when I went to Ghana. But then a bigger deal for me than Ghana was Kenya, was Rwanda, because of course they are outside West Africa, and of course I would get stamps on my passport and everything. For Ghana, you might not really see it as okay, travel history worthy and everything, even though it's also nice and essential. So Kenya, Rwanda. Then I decided to go to Dubai because, of course, it was quite easy back then. For now, it's a bit hard, especially for Nigerian females, young Nigerian young Nigerian females. I think it's opening up gradually now. But then back then it was quite easy, and I said, okay, I want this on my passport. Let me go there. Okay, and I found very affordable rates to go with hotel rates, transportation and everything. I found a very, very affordable rate for all these things. And I decided to go for a few days and come back, I think for about a week or so. And I came back and I was happy because it got stamped on my passport, right? So if I want to travel to another country now and I need to produce a travel history, because there will definitely be space for your travel history. You would bring all those countries, okay? You bring the visas of those countries. You would scan the visa of those countries, the stamps of those countries, and you would upload it. Now, what the travel history does, I don't want to dwell so much on it, but let me just give you like some points. What the travel history does for you is that it tells the visa officer of this new country you want to go to that this person is actually a traveler. Okay, this person has actually been traveling. Okay, and so you can trust them to actually go and come back because he or she went to these countries and came back. They did not jackpot inside the country, they did not run away inside the country. Okay, so it is essential to produce your travel history. Okay, if you have a travel history. If you don't have a travel history, that's fine. Okay, but then a travel history is important in so many ways. I'll create a video to show you how important a travel history can be. Okay, so let's just quickly talk about I think we're almost done here with my notes. Okay, I actually wrote down a couple of things I wanted to discuss with you before we go into the application proper. I hope that you're learning a lot. If there's something that I have mentioned that you had no idea about, write it in the comment section. Okay, if there's something that I have said, maybe you just had the what do they call it, the eureka moment. Okay, maybe that's the reason why your visas have been having issues, or you have not been, you think this is the reason why you were denied a visa, and I just mentioned it Please write it in the comment section if there's something I mentioned that you didn't know about, or something that just hits you like, oh my gosh, just write it in the comment section, okay? So let's go ahead to talk about how to tailor your application to a country's requirements. Okay, it might sound really easy, but it's not as easy as it sounds, all right? It is very essential that before you start an application, you have to research and understand the requirements. Okay, you have to research and understand the requirements for that country. Okay, some countries might require a particular size of passport photo. Some countries might require that you have a particular length of bank statement. Some countries might require, say, 3 months bank statement. Some countries might require 6 months bank statement. Some countries might require an amount of money. That's why I said I would make a separate video for proof of funds, because the, it just has so many sides to it. Okay, some countries might require an amount of money. Some countries and visa types might require that you have up to 10 million naira, okay, or $1,000 or $10,000 in your account. Some countries might require that you have just $2,000 or £2,000 in your account. I've actually processed a visa for a client, and I think her bank statement was just about £2,000 or something, or yeah. Another client had about £1,800 or so, and it went through. Okay, but that is because that country has seen it that, okay, because you're staying for this number of days, this should carry you. This should be okay for you. Okay, So I'm gonna make a separate video on proof of funds. But what I'm saying is the requirements for countries differ. Okay, first things first, you have to do some research. Okay, when you decide what country you're going to, you have to research on it. I will make a couple of videos. If you want me to make a video on a particular country, just drop it in the comment section. Okay, if there's any country that has been on your mind and you want me to make a video of it, I already have my list of countries though. The list of countries that I want to apply to for you. I'll be sharing my screen basically. But if there's any country that has been on your mind and you want me to talk about it, or you want me to touch on it, just drop it in the comment section, especially if it's a country that Nigerians don't normally go. You know what I mean? Just drop it in the comment section, and then hopefully, if there's time, we will talk about it. Not today, not today, I'm just saying, but we will talk about it. So first things first, you need to research and understand the requirements, especially for the visa type that you're applying. Okay, the visa type you're applying for, it is very essential that you understand what is required, the correct visa type. You need to complete your application accurately, okay? Don't be applying for a visa when you're feeling sleepy. I have a friend who applied for a visa for herself, and then she got denied, surprisingly, because she has her travel history and everything, and she knows how to apply for visas, right? But she got denied, and I was like, what are they saying? Like, why are they saying you didn't submit this and you didn't do that? She was like, I was feeling sleepy that day. Probably I did not do something. I did not type in something and I thought I did. Or maybe I mistakenly typed in the wrong information, or, the wrong information in the wrong place or something. I don't know what happened, but I was feeling sleepy on that day. I was jet lagged and everything. I was like, wow, why didn't you just tell me to help you if you knew you were tired? Or why didn't you just sleep it off and then, do it when you have a clear head or something? So please don't apply for a visa. Especially if you are a travel agent and it's a client visa. I am begging you. I am begging you. I'm begging you. Don't apply for a client visa when you're feeling sleepy. Most of the time, I process my own visas at night. I handle my own visa applications at night. And what I do is, because I have a hectic day sometimes, I make sure that I sleep. I get home early, I sleep, have my alarm and everything. I wake up at night and I have my tea and I'm working. Okay. The reason why I sleep ahead is because I don't want to be feeling sleepy when I'm applying for somebody's visa. Okay, when I'm making an application, I don't want to be feeling sleepy or dozing, because you might mistakenly type in the wrong figure, and then the person gets denied. And one crazy thing about visa denial, it is on that person's record, if possible for the rest of their lives. Okay, it's on their record that they got denied a visa. So please, I beg you, if you're here and you want to be a travel agent or a travel consultant, whichever one, please do not apply for a visa when you're tired. Okay, that is one thing I tell myself, one thing I tell my staff. Okay, one rule I live by. I do not handle any application when I am tired. I would rather sleep or maybe go for a run or something. Just don't apply for a visa when you're exhausted. Okay, make sure that you're bright eyed. I don't know what your own sleep routine is. Some people work better in the morning. Okay, some people work better in the afternoon. Some people work better at night. I have a friend who sleeps in the morning, and then his own morning is like maybe like from 11 a.m. That's when he's waking up, and then he gets to start proper work around 4 5 p.m. Okay, and that works for him because he works through the night and then goes to bed like maybe 3 4 a.m. thereabout. So it depends on you and your own productive cycle. What part of your day, what time of the day is productive for you. Okay, but if you are a travel agent or a travel consultant, I beg of you, do not apply for visas when you are feeling sleepy or when you are least productive. And even if you're doing this for yourself, okay, don't apply for a visa when you're feeling sleepy, because you don't know the information that you might mistakenly impute that was not meant to be there. Also, my advice, before you apply for a visa, ensure that everything is ready. Now, when we start our applications, we're going to notice a couple of things. I think it's USA. USA is the funniest. Okay, when I started applying for USA visas, I noticed that I'm applying for something and then I need to check the person's passport to get a piece of information. And by the time you're back, you finish inputting all the details and then you want to save, it times you out. Okay, because you've wasted so much time. You've wasted like 5 10 minutes trying to gather the information that they need. Okay, that is why I'm happy that we're doing this together, because even if you don't start your application now, okay, while I'm showing you my screen and everything, even if you don't start your application now, you know what is needed. You know that, okay, I need to get these documents together. I need to get the passport of the person I'm applying for, or my passport, by my side. I need to get the passport of the person that's inviting me. Essential, very, very essential. I need to know what maybe their bank balance is, because some applications they might ask you how much do you have in savings. I know that UK asks that question. They will be like, how much do you have in your savings, and then you now start opening your app and say, oh, how much do I have, how much, hey, I don't even know. Before you know it, you'll be timed out. I think UK gives you, I think, 20 minutes or 25 minutes, but the US, oh my lord, my dear, for the US, just have all your documents. Just have all your documents by the side, because USA does not play. I admire how strict they are with time. You don't waste their time. You don't waste their time. Okay. So they're very strict with time. So you need to have all your documents put together before you start any visa application. Be sure that you have all your documents put together, or at least everything that you need written somewhere. Maybe they ask you about your travel history. I remember there was a time I was processing my uncle's UK visa, and they were asking about his travel history. I thought that they would just tell me, okay, upload your travel history or something. No, they asked me the entry date, exit date, how long did you spend, blah 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 blah. I'm so happy I had his passport with me. Okay, so I mean, it was easy for me to like impute everything and all. Okay, but I mean, over the years I've learned to have everything together. I ask the client everything. I don't even care if the client thinks I'm asking them a million and one questions. Okay, I ask as many questions as possible, because if my client gets denied, number one, it is a stain on my name, right? On my, would I say, professionalism or something? And then number two, it's a stain on that person's name in the records of that country, because that country will forever remember that, okay, at this time we denied this person a visa and all that. Okay, even though your next application will not be treated as a continuation of the previous application. Okay, they always say it, even Canada says it. A lot of these countries say that if you wish to apply again, we will not judge you based on the denial. Okay, we'll judge you on a fresh slate, and which is nice. Okay, it's nice. All right, kind of reminds me of when you give your life to Christ. All your sins are washed away. So it is very important, all right, that you know the requirements for these things. All right, so you would also check if you have if you have the the what they require in terms of proof of ties. Now, a lot of people don't really understand what proof of ties means. Proof of ties means your what ties you back home. Okay, do you have a wife at home? Do you have kids at home? Let's say, for example, now, I think maybe I'll just create a video because I might not be able to, like explain everything right now since this is not our focus. Okay, but proof of ties means, do you have things or people that are tying you to your roots? Okay, so that no matter where you go, it's like your leg is tied to somewhere. Okay, and you can only go so far and then still come back to where your leg, like when you chain an animal. Okay, they have, like, they go, but they still have to come back and rest where they are tied. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that is basically what I'm not comparing it to an animal. I'm just saying proof of ties means your family back home, people who are dependent on you. Let's say you have an elderly mother or grandmother or aunt that you're taking care of and all that, or you have a business running, a big business running back at home. You have companies running, yes, business. You have a job, you're a student, things that tie you back home. All right, these are just things to prove that, look, I am coming to your country, but I am coming back. Okay, these are just things to prove that, okay, this person is going to leave our country when he or she says he will leave the country. Now, another thing is that you have to know if you're going for an interview or not. Okay, I remember there was a time my mom asked me, she asked, she called me and she was like, oh, I want to go to the UK, what are the questions that they would ask? Okay, because for the countries she has been to, she's used to interview. Okay, so she's like, oh, what are the questions? And I'm like, mommy, there is no question for the UK. You just go, you submit your documents. If you applied for the assisted service, you would, submit your documents. They would upload it for you. If you applied for self-service, I will upload the documents for you. Whichever one, you just go, submit your documents, do your thumbprint, whatever, and you move. There is no interview for UK visa process. And she was shocked. She was like, wow, I should have gone all this while, because I mean, there's no interview. Why am I cracking my brain, right? So yeah, you have to know, is there a visa interview? Is there no visa interview? You have to know. Also, another thing is you may have to consult professionals depending on the kind of visa. For there's a particular country I have where I don't just make applications. I have to speak to my lawyers over there, to ask them, okay, what can I do here? What can I do there? And then we do them together. Okay, there are some visa types that you can't just do them alone. One very good example of this is a work permit for Canada. Yes, I know that some people apply for Canada work permit on their own, but then when it comes to maybe applying for something like an open work permit or something, I don't do it on my own. I speak with my immigration lawyers, to understand, okay, just to understand some policies in case some policies have changed, in case anything has changed since the last time. Okay, in case anything has changed since the last time, they need to let me know. I get on a call with them and I discuss with them what I plan to do, and then they tell me what to look out for, if there's anything that has changed and all that. Okay, so it is very essential. Another thing that I would like to discuss is your application. You need to submit as early as possible. You don't wake up one day in November and say, oh, I want to travel next month to, say, a country like the USA. You and I know that getting an appointment date for the US is quite difficult for Nigerians. Not because they purposely make it difficult, but because you have thousands and thousands of people applying to one country at the same time. And I was explaining this thing to somebody. I said, during the pandemic, people were home, right? Visa officers were home, right? But then it did not stop people from applying. Nobody was traveling, nobody was getting a visa. Okay, but it did not stop people from applying to these countries. So let's say you go home. Okay, let's say maybe you go on leave or something, you go home and you sleep for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then you come back to your table and you realize that while you were home resting, people were piling and piling and piling new folders, new files on your table while you were away, and nobody was handling that because everybody went home. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm just trying to be practical about it, okay? So you come back and there are like 5,000 or 100,000 applications on your table, right? By the time you are struggling to clear those applications, to clear the backlog, new applications coming in have to wait. All right, they have to wait because you already have 100,000 applications you are attending to. So the new applications that are coming in have to wait no matter how you want to do it. You're not Superman. Even if you're Superman self, you will still need time to clear what you have. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you need to understand that a lot of countries have backlogs. Canada has backlogs, USA has backlogs, I think even Poland has backlogs, so you need to understand that there are backlogs, and so before it gets to your turn, it's going to take a long time. Sometimes even getting an appointment date for the USA is really, really stressful and tasking. So I'm always telling people, make your decision way ahead of time. Okay, I have this friend who used to do this with flight tickets. Okay, he has a way of planning his time. If he's going to travel in the next 3 months, trust me, he's applying for his ticket now. He's buying his ticket right now, because the closer he gets to the day of the flight, the more expensive it might get. So I mean, he doesn't know what will happen, so he just buys his ticket. Okay, and if he changes his date or something, he can just move the ticket or open the ticket. But then he buys the ticket way ahead of time, okay, for it to be affordable for him. That is how it works for him. I also have a friend that does that for herself and her family. Whenever she has plans of traveling in Christmas, I think by September, she's already bought the ticket. Okay, by September, October, she has already bought the December ticket, and she has already applied for the visa and everything. Okay, in fact, she starts applying for the visa like way, way, way ahead of time, months ahead. Okay, depending on the country that she wants to go. So that is being intentional about submitting your application early. You have to be intentional about it, okay? Another thing that you need to be intentional about, even though I'm going to mention it when I create a video for proof of funds, is growing your account. Okay, I remember the first time I wanted to travel to a country that I knew I would need to drop my bank statement and all, because that country, they don't joke when it comes to bank statement and all that. I had to start growing my account like, I think 6 or 7 months ahead. In fact, almost a year ahead, because I had a plan. I was like, okay, this year on my birthday, I want to spend it in so country. So what do I do? Okay, I think that was April of the previous year. I was talking about the next year. I said, okay, this particular year on my birthday, I want to be in this country. Okay, so what are the requirements? Let me start growing my account from now. Okay, so I selected a savings account of mine. I started to grow it. I started to be intentional about that particular account, because I knew that's the account I want to use. That's the particular account that I want to use for this application. Okay, so I ensured that I saved my money in that account. Whatever monies I had in different places, I made sure that I pulled them together. I saved them in that account. I was like, okay, this is the account we're using, so we have to be intentional about this. I also told someone in my family who I knew could be a sponsor. I informed her. I said, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm trying to do and all that. And she was like, okay, that's fine. Let me know if you need any assistance in any way. Okay. So the thing is, you have to submit early. You have to be intentional ahead of time. Okay. When you want to apply for a visa. So it's not just about waking up and saying, oh, I feel like being in so country at this time in a month's time or in 2 weeks, and then you start applying to USA. My sister, except you're in the government or you have some superpowers, my dear, please submit way. Even if you're in the government, you still need to apply way ahead, as ahead as possible. Okay, so please submit your applications early and be intentional about growing your proof of funds. Another thing I wrote down here in my notes is that you have to be honest. Okay, I don't want to overflog the issue, because everybody knows honesty is good, right? Honesty is what is attainable, right? But then I've been a travel agent for over 3 years now, and I have seen a lot. Let me just let me just put it that way. I have seen a lot. I have experienced a whole lot. I have seen a whole lot. Okay, people lying about previous denials. As a matter of fact, recently a client of mine got denied a visa, and I was shocked because I mean I try as much as possible to ensure that, even though we're not perfect, yes, I try to ensure that I don't lose anything when it comes to details. I am very, very particular about details. But this person was denied a visa, and I was eager. I was eager to know why. Guess what? This person had a visa denial several years ago from the US, and I was applying to Canada for this person. Now, minus the fact that US and Canada share, like, they share data. There are some countries that share data, of course. A lot of countries that share data that we don't even know. Aside from that, that you cannot run or commit a crime in the USA and then run to Canada and all that. Aside from that, you lied in your application. Okay, so if you lie in your application, some countries might even ban you. All right. So even though it was several years ago, they pulled out that application and said, you lied about this. And so we are not giving you our visa because you lied about, not getting a visa denial from any other country. But we realized that you were denied a visa in the USA, or to the USA rather. Do you understand? I've had situations where somebody goes to the USA when he's 19 years, and maybe not necessarily commits a crime, but a client went to the USA when he was about 19 years, and then when he was about 40 something years, he was, for some reason, he had changed his name, or sorry, not his name, his date of birth. He had changed, I think, for a job or something. He had to like reduce his age, in Nigeria and all that. And then by the time he wanted to go to Canada, he was married with kids and everything. Guess what? They pulled out the thumbprint from several years ago when he was 18, 19. And they said, how come, these thumbprints are the same? These names are almost the same, because he added, I think, a middle name or something. These names are almost the same, but the ages are not the same. Okay, what's going on? Why are you being mischievous? Why is there foul play? Okay, I think the only thing that saved him was the fact that his spouse already had she already had a permit in Canada, and all that. His spouse and his kids also were in Canada with her. So that was one thing that saved him, and he was able to appeal and all that stuff. Okay, very long story. But what I'm saying is, try as much as you can to be honest. Okay, nothing beats honesty when it comes to visa applications, as much as possible. That is why I say prepare ahead of time. Not that you just wake up one morning and then you're getting a fake proof of funds, you're getting fake this, fake that, and you're trying to twist it to be real. You know what I mean? You're trying to twist it to be real. It might work for some people, but it might just work for some people. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the best thing to do is start getting ready ahead of time. Okay, don't start doing cut and join application. Oh, you cut this one, you cut this one, you join them together, you cut this one. No, 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 no. Please try as much as you can to be honest. Try as much as you can to be congruent when you're making your application. Okay, it would be helpful both to you and to your travel consultant. If you're making use of a travel consultant or you're doing it by yourself, okay, try as much as possible to be real and be honest. Okay. Now, the last thing I wrote under the country's requirement is that you need to follow instructions. Okay, if the country says, let's say, for example, there's a place in the application that says, describe your job role. So people will just leave it blank and move on. You don't know why they're asking you to describe your job role. You're like, what's their business with my job role, with what I do? I've already told you I'm a bank manager. Don't you know what bank manager does? Look, I have experienced it all. I feel like 90% of what could be experienced as a travel consultant, I have experienced it. Okay? Describe your job role. Please, if they ask you and you're applying for yourself, they ask you to describe your job role. Please describe your job role. It's just simple. It's easy. It doesn't take so much energy. Okay? Or they tell you, do you have a family member in Canada? You say yes. You fill in the details of just one family member when you have like 3 family members in Canada that you can contact, that you're in contact with. Okay, if you're not in contact with that family member, it is different. But when they say, do you have family members in Canada? You say yes, you put only one person. They now say, okay, do you have any other family member? You say no. Then before you know it, when you get to Canada, they find out that you are visiting that person. Yeah, my dear, I don't know what will happen to your next visa application, and I've not had that situation before, so I don't even want to know, But what I'm trying to say is follow instructions. If they instruct you to take a particular passport photo size with some requirements, please follow those instructions, because you have no idea why they're telling you to do that. You have no idea why they're saying that, and because thousands and thousands of people are applying for the same visa, you never know. These things might just cause you to lose your application. Okay, you might just lose your application, you might just get denied for something as simple as a little instruction that you did not follow. Okay, so please follow instructions. Be honest, submit early, follow instruction. Okay, so we've talked about basically everything, most of what I wrote down here. We have defining your purpose of travel. Yes, some countries will tell you to define your purpose of travel. I know that they do it a lot when it comes to study visas. They ask you to bring your SOP, your statement of purpose, and all that. Define your purpose of travel, your purpose of studying this course, and all that stuff. Okay, even when it comes to visit visa, they will tell you. In some applications, I think the UK, the USA asks you. Okay, I'm mentioning these countries because these are countries that a lot of Nigerians go to often. Okay, they are Schengen countries, but then UK, USA, Canada, these are countries that Nigerians go to often. Okay, so they ask you what is your purpose of travel. Okay, they even tell you to specify. When you say, okay, I want to go to this place, I want to go for tourism, blah 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 blah, they will now tell you specify. In the UK application, they will give you a box to actually specify very, very, very well. Why are you really, really going to that country? Why are you really going to that country? Do you understand what I'm saying? So you have to try as much as possible to be honest. Okay, I always talk about being honest when you're applying for a visa. Okay, now when you submit your document, you have to present your strongest case. I told you about an account that I have that I decided to put money in because I knew that I was getting ready to go to a particular country. And so I needed to make my case strong enough when it comes to proof of funds. Okay, I did it and I went to my family member, just in case I would need her as a sponsor. You never can tell what happens to my account. I went and had that discussion with her. I said, look at what I'm trying to do, look at what I'm planning to do. Okay, so in terms of presenting my strongest case, I'm using proof of funds as an example. Okay, so I made sure that I was going to present my strongest case by ensuring that the money I need to present is a whole lot. Okay, I made sure that the money that will be in my proof of funds will be a whole lot. And they'll say, okay, this babe, she has money. Okay, let us allow her to come into our country. She doesn't look like she's coming to beg for money. She doesn't look like she's coming to sleep under the bridge. Okay, whether it is all the money you have in the world or not, put all the monies together. Okay, put all the monies together in one place and present your strongest case. All right. So the countries that we're going to be the countries that, if you have any questions, please drop it in the comment section. Okay, drop it in the comment section if you have any questions. So basically the countries that we're going to be that we will be paying attention to are mostly countries that I have noticed that Nigerians like to go. Okay, I know that off the top of your head you can I know which country you will call first. Okay, yes. I mean, I looked at my notes, I looked at my records, and I said, there are some weird countries that people have gone to that I never thought that Nigerians would want to go. But then somebody told me, if you go to a particular country and you don't see a Nigerian, then that country is not habitable. There is nowhere you want to go that you won't see a Nigerian. But let's just leave it at that. Okay, so I decided to look through my records and I saw that there are a particular set of countries that Nigerians have been wanting to go to for a while. Nigerians have been applying to for a while. Now, not just because these countries are good and nice countries, there are several good and nice countries which are not very racist. But then I think it's because of the benefits. Okay, some people will come to me and say, can you give me the requirements for some countries minus this country? I don't want to go to this country. And I'm like, what do you have against this country? And they're like, everybody is going. That's why I don't want to go. No, why is everybody going? Okay, I'm this kind of person that if everybody is doing something and there's something I want to do in that line, I first of all find out why is everybody towing this line? Why is everybody going this way? Okay, because those people are not fools. They probably have seen the benefits of going to that country, and that's why they're going to that country as well. All right. So you don't just wake up and say, "Oh, I don't want to go to this country because every Nigerian is going there." Personally, I even feel that if you want to go to a country and you know that a lot of Nigerians are going, it should even make you happy because it means that it's almost going to be like a home away from home. Trust me, it can get very lonely, especially when you're somewhere and you don't see people like you. when you're somewhere and you don't see people that have your culture or think like you could feel lost at some point. Okay, a lot of people might not tell you. There are some times that you would feel lost, even if you're just going there on a visit, my dear. You might feel lost. Okay, you might still feel lost. You might feel out of place for a very long time, and then before you know it, you're losing your identity. You are, I don't know, it's a whole lot. Okay, but then the thing is, if you're going somewhere and you know that, okay, there's probably a Nigerian community over there, there are people who are like me over there, and so I wouldn't feel so alone. I can hear some people saying, I don't mind if I feel alone, YOLO, 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 self-love. I am okay being by myself and all that. Trust me, there are sometimes humans are not made to exist on their own. Humans are not A human is a social animal. So you would need people at some point. Okay? You would need people at some point in your life. So if people are going to a particular country, if Nigerians are going to a particular country, first find out, why are they going? What are the benefits of being in this country? Okay, what are the benefits that everybody is chasing? Are these benefits, are these things going to benefit me as well? That's how I look at it. Okay, because I've had a couple of clients come to me and say, I don't want to go to Canada because everybody's going to Canada. But you don't even know why everybody is rushing to go to Canada. You don't know if it is the ease of going there. You don't know if it is the benefits that would that they would get after being there for a couple of years or a couple of months or something. You don't know if it's the standard of living that's making them go there. You don't know, if it's the culture of the people. Maybe the culture of their people there is similar to your own culture, and that's why a lot of people are going there. There are so many reasons why Nigerians are moving to Canada and the UK. So it's not for you to be a hater. Okay, just find out, why are these people going here? Is it in alignment with my goals? When somebody comes to me and says, I want to relocate, or I want to work or study abroad, where do you think I should go? The very first question I ask them is, what is your goal in going to this, in going abroad? First of all, what is your goal? Because depending on your goal, I will then tell you the list of countries that might be nice for you to go to. Okay, but then ultimately the decision is yours. We wouldn't just sit down and make a decision for you. No, the ultimate decision is yours. All we do is let you know what your options are, let you know according to our knowledge, based on what we have experienced, based on what we have seen, and based on the policies of these countries. We let you know the pros and the cons based on our knowledge of these countries and our knowledge of the policies of the country. That's how I advise people, based on what I know about these countries and what I have seen. So I advise you based on that. I tell you, okay, if this is your goal, if you're in a hurry, go to this country. If you want to be a citizen, and you need a country that it will be easy for you to get citizenship, you can go to this country. If you don't have money for the citizenship, but you still want to be a citizen, maybe in like 3 to 5 years, go to so country. There's a lot that we discuss, and I think that is like the fun part for me, meeting people, brainstorming with them to know what their plans are for their lives, to know what their plans are for their future. Being a tiny part of that decision making is really nice for me. Okay, so yes, you need to decide what country you want to go to and everything, and then make sure that, number one, you have their requirements. Number two, you're eligible. In fact, I think the very first thing is for you to be eligible, right? Before even thinking about their requirements and their instructions, and then focus on ensuring that you present your strongest case in terms of your proof of funds, in terms of if you're going there for study, your admission, into a school. I'm going to make separate videos on some of these things that I'm talking about, how to, get a study visa to some countries, how to apply for admission to some countries, affordable schools you can even apply to, and all that. Don't worry, we're going to talk about a lot. Like, it's a lot. It's really loaded, and I'm a bit nervous about it because I'm hoping that, I will not be bombarding you with so much. Okay, I don't want to bombard you with so much, but then that is the beauty of these sessions that we have, because you can ask questions, I would answer and all that. In fact, after this, I'm going to the comment section to check what questions you have been asking and all that. Okay, so I wouldn't want to bombard you so much, but then there are some things that you need to pay attention to, which I would ensure that I do for you. I create videos, we talk about it, we discuss it, and then when you make your applications and you succeed, you let me know. If you were not able to succeed, you can let me know what your difficulties were, If you're having difficulties with some applications, you can also let me know that this is the difficulty I faced. How do I overcome it? Okay. But then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you my screen. Okay, so whatever I'm doing, you will see it. Okay, you can be doing as I do, do as I do, don't do as I say, So yeah, it's going to be fun. I am looking forward to having a fun time with us. I hope that I have helped you to dot your I's and cross your T's. All right. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section and then I will respond. And even though, I know that you probably, came in here through a link. If there's anybody that you're on the channel and probably that's why you're here. But if there's anybody that that is not on the channel and probably needs to hear this or needs to watch this, you can send them the link while this video is still, while this video still exists, while it's still up, online. Just send them the link so they can watch and also be a partaker of this. Don't be selfish. Be nice. Be very, very nice. So I'm going to, put the link to the WhatsApp in the description below as well, so that if you want to, join, maybe you're not part of our group or our channel or something and you want to join, you can also join in. All right. Thank you so much. I don't know how to appreciate you, but thank you so much for staying till the end. Thank you so much for coming. I think I should do giveaways, for people that stay to the end, the end of the session, I should do giveaways. I hope that you learned something. If there's anything that I mentioned that gave you a eureka moment, if there's anything I mentioned that hit you like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this, or, something that you remembered, just drop it in the comment section. Or if there's something that you want people to take note of, just drop it in the comment section. If there's anything at all that you like that I said, drop it in the comment section and I will definitely see it and respond. Thank you guys, and I hope to see you in the next session. Okay, guess what country we're going to be starting with? Just guess. Just guess. Just guess. Put it in the comment section. I might just give a gift or maybe a free visa.